So we have done with the selection screen and we have generated the first list. Now we are going with the next step. Now, whenever user double click on any of the customer, I should get the second list. In that list, I want the sales order for the for the customer which you have double clicked on a first list or first screen. And even like whatever the output we have generated, user wanted some customization in the output list. Customization in the sense what? He want the different label. In the standard data element, we do have the different set of label, but user expecting some different set of label. So in output list, if you want to do any customizing for your column, your output list, if you want to do any customizing for your column, then we need to define our own field catalog work area and the internal table. And that field catalog work area and the internal table, the structure and the table type is slice underscore fieldcat underscore ALV. And the table type slice underscore T underscore fieldcat underscore ALV. Now these structure, not only this one, there are many things which we need to achieve. The set of structure, the set of table type, which are related to your ALV output list. These are like defined under the type group, and the standard type group which we are working is list. So in real time, we never create any type group. SAP has already provided many standard. We are using that to fulfill the requirement. Now the next step, you can do many things. Not only this, there are many options are there within that slice underscore fieldcat underscore ALV. Suppose if I go with the type group called slice, and if I go with slice fieldcat, there are many options are there. Row position, column position, field name, tab name, currency, so on, so on. Now, for example, now if you look at this output, what is your first name? First field, customer number. Next is country. Third is what? Customer name. Now, what user is saying, he wants this customer name in a second position and the country in the third position. Now, a customer user is saying, no, I want customer name is in a second position, country in a third position. Now, what will be your approach? Now you need to first what you need to do, as we discussed. Now whatever the internal table you have created, that internal table might be created based on the structure. In the structure, what is your sequence? And as per that only we are printing in the output list. Either you need to change the sequence in a structure, or there is an alternative way. Which one? So we do have the options called KN1 hyphen column position. Column position. This is one of the parameter or field from that structure, slice underscore fieldcat. Can you see this column underscore position? You can change the position of your column without changing the position your structure, maybe without changing the position of your select statement. Now suppose I want this customer number in a first position. Similarly, now user is saying country should be in the third position. So you need to say that 3. And this I want in a second position. And randomly, this is your fourth, this is your fifth, and this is your sixth. Now if I click on execute, can you see? Customer number in a first position, customer name in a second position, and this goes to third position. Means you can achieve anything. You can achieve anything. Now, for example, now I will just reverse this one. I don't need it this one. If you want to change the column position, then only you can do it. Okay. Now there will be a requirement. Now user wanted to update this street field. User wanted to update the street. Maybe any value of this customer. Now this is a customer number. For this customer, the registered details are the country is DE, the customer name is this one, the city is this one, postal code is this one, and the street is this one. Now suppose user wanted to update any information of this customer, then of course the data will be updated via application only, the way we are updating the material number. Similarly, to update the vendor, sorry, the customer, the transaction code is XT02. XT01 is for creating the vendor, 02 is for changing the vendor. Now what vendor we want to change? 1000. Now if I want to edit or update this customer, so this is a customer number I'm passing, and just click on enter. See, this is the title, nothing but the name. This is but your street, and this is your house number. Same information you're getting over here, right? So this is a name, this is a street, postal code. Can you see this postal code over here? Now what user is saying, no. If I want to update the customer, I don't want to go to XT01 application. Is it possible to make this column editable over here? Yes, it's possible. How to do? So normally with the traditional ALV, you cannot achieve this job. But with the, traditional way, you cannot achieve this job. But with the ALV, you can achieve this job. We do have many parameters. Can I see round, exponent, then key, icon, symbol, so on. This ALV has the power. Now, whatever the column you're printing over here, this column can be converted into checkbox also. This column. Now, this is a text field actually. You can convert this into checkbox also. Can you see here? We do have that options. Now, you can display the icon as well. Suppose sometimes you need to pass the indicator red, green, yellow. We do have the indicator options also. Now suppose in the first column or any of the column, if I want to print some indicator, some icons, like whatever the push button we have created in that, we added the icon. Similarly, in the column, if you want to add the icons, we do have that option as icon. We do many things. We do many things over here. Now, can you see here, whatever the value printing in the uppercase, suppose I want to print in the lowercase. I don't want any value to be printed in uppercase. Like we done the string operation, right? So we do have that parameters over here. You don't need to go with the string operation. Can you see this lowercase? You can achieve any job, but here I'm talking about the editable column. Can you see here we do have an option called edit. So whatever the parameter, now currently no column is editable over here. But when I set the parameter, your column will becomes editable. Hyphen edit. Now suppose I want to make this street column editable. You need to set as X. Now if I click on execute, see, now this column is editable. This is not possible with the traditional way, right? You can pass anything. But that is a different things. You need to write the logic separately for this save. Now, whatever the value I have edited or whatever the value I have updated, when I click on save option, the the edited data should be updated in database table. Now, that is a separate thing. You need to write the code separately for that. But if you want to set any columns editable, that you can achieve by using edit equals to X. Now, when I come back, when I again rerun, it will get the data from the database again, because we have not updated the data, we just edited it, we have not saved it. So that logic you need to write separately, right? Now suppose if I click on execute, by default how many columns you are seeing? 6 column. Like suppose if I develop any of the report for any of the department, and in that department we do have 4 people, let's assume, and this report being used by 4 different user or the 4 different people. Now, not all the user wanted to see all the columns. Now, first user is okay. He wanted to see all 6 columns. User 2 is saying that no, I don't want to see all the 6 column. I need only first 4. Now, how to hide this column? The user is saying no, I don't want to see these 2 column. I don't require. I need only customer name, country, city. Right. So only these 4 column. Does it mean do we are going to write change the code, delete the column? No. Now user 3 is saying that no, I want to see only first 3 column. I don't require remaining 3 column. Now user 4 is saying I need first 2 column and the last 2 column, not in the middle 2. And the user 1 is saying I want to see all the column. You no need to do the code change. You do have the option for the layout management. Can you see this layout? Change layout, or we can say layout management. If you click on this, you will get the pop-up. You do have 2 partitions over here. One with the displayed column and with the column set. In the displayed column, you do have 6 Customer number, country, name, city, postal, and the street. 6. Now, whatever the columns are specified in the left hand side, that columns are being displayed. Now, user is saying, like user 2 is saying, he don't want to see all the column. Now, what you can do, the column which you don't want to see, just select that one and take it to the right hand side. Select the column which you don't want to see, take it to the right hand side. It means that will be hidden, not deleted, that got hidden. The user is saying, nah, I want that street column. Then go back to the chain layout, select this street and take it to the left hand side and click on enter. See. So without changing the data log, without changing the source code, you can shuffle your column or you can rearrange the layout based on your requirement. Now again, suppose user is saying, no, I don't want to see any column, then you can select all, taken to the left hand side. Now everything got hidden. But user is saying that no, I want only customer and the name. I don't want any other column. Click on this, it will take you to the left hand side and click on enter. You can see. So you can play explicitly by using the change layout. Now what user is saying that, see again it got reset. It got reset. When you do changing by using the change layout, it will be only for that particular run. When you come out of this, again it will get reset. But what that department is saying, that's fine. Every report, the columns, everything is fine. But what he is saying, by default, do not display this column. Keep it hidden. Hidden in the sense, it will be hidden in the change layout. When I require, I will take it, but by default, keep it hidden. Now, suppose if I go with this chain layout and if I select these two column, if I take towards the right hand side, it got hidden. That's fine. But when I come back, again I rerun, again you can see the column. Means every time it will reset. But user is saying, means that department is saying, of course, I need 6 column in the report, but do not show all the column. Keep that postal code and the street by default hidden. When I require, I will take it back, but keep it hidden. Now, how to achieve? So that again you can achieve by using this SLIS field catalog ALV. In that, you do have the option called no out. No out means those columns will be hidden. What are those? I want this no underscore out is equals to X. Now, if I click on execute, see, you can see only 4 column. If I go with the change layout, by default, these two got hidden. Now, which one he requires, he will take it and click on enter. It means you can achieve many things with the help of SLIS. You can completely customize your output list. That is the use of your ALV. That is the added advantage of ALV. If you don't want to do any customizing, simply create the structure in S11 and pass that S11 structure to the ALV function model. But if you want to do any customizing to your any of the column, then you need to go with the SLIS fieldcat underscore ALV. Now next step. Now what is my requirement? Whenever user double click on any of the customer, I should get the second list. Of course, this can be achieved by using some events only. Even with the traditional, we have used an event called at-line selection, hide, and the CLS&D. But instead of that, here we do have this different syntax for that. We do have the different syntax for the, can you see, form, event, subroutine, something like. But before that, when we do have the events, what are the types, like what are the different set of events we do have in SAP? Like suppose if I go with, we do have load of program, but this load of program, we never call it is explicitly. We never call this load of program explicitly. That will be called automatically whenever you click on execute. Then comes with initialization. Then comes with at selection screen, then comes with start of selection, then comes with end of selection, then comes with top of page, end of page, then comes with at PF, or we can say set PF, right? And the next one is at user command. So these are the set of events we have used, and these are common to all type of report. But if you look at during the interactive case, we have used at line selection. So these are the set of event which we discussed during the classical and the interactive during the traditional way. Now what I can do over here is, now when you are working with the ALV, when you are working with the ALV, the approach is different. See, during the traditional way, the events representation and the approach is different, and during the ALV case, the approach is different. Now one side I will take it as a traditional, or I can take only ALV. ALV. Now, when I go with the ALV case, see, when you are going with the traditional way, you can call these events directly. When you go with the traditional report, like I have discussed with the classical and we have discussed with the interactive, both. I'm not talking about the classical ALV or the interactive ALV. I'm talking about traditional reporting, the classical, the stock detail based on the plant and the store location, which we discussed, and the vendor wise PO, the traditional interactive, which we discussed. During that case, you can call these event directly. There is no any changes or the difference. But when you're working with these event during the ALV case, the approach is different. Approach is different. Now, during the ALV case, I will make it two column. Now, during the ALV case, now this is changed something like now. So these event will be distributed into two parts, before and after. Now, how we are generating the output? By using the function module provided by the SAP called reuse ALV grid display, nothing but reuse underscore ALV underscore grid underscore display. And another one is reuse underscore ALV underscore list underscore display. By using these two function model, we are generating the output list. When you are generating the output with the help of ALV function model, you don't have the control on your output list. Output is being displayed by ALV, being controlled by ALV. You don't have the direct control. But whatever the set of events we have discussed, during the ALV case, these will be splitted into two parts. Means among these events, what are the events are being called before displaying the ALV output list, and what are the events are being used after displaying the ALV list. Now it means, now when your output is being displayed, when you extracted the data and you are going to display the output. Now before extraction, what events are being, before display, what events are being called? So very first, load of program, I will not consider, that will be called automatically. I will go with initialization. So initialization is an event. It will be called before display your output. Not only output, this initialization will trigger before display of selection screen also. And after displaying the selection screen and before leaving the selection screen, your at selection screen will be triggered. At selection screen. And then even your start of selection. Start of selection. Even this will trigger before display your ALV list, right? Even your end of selection, it will be trigger before ALV display or any, like even with the help of this end of selection only, we are going to display the output. Even with this end of selection only, we are going to display the output. Now, rest of the events will comes after displaying the ALV. So when your top-up page is going to be used, when you want to display the report header, nothing but after displaying the output list, we are going to maintain the header. So this top-up page will be displayed after displaying the ALV, or it will be trigger after display the ALV. Then end of page, it will trigger after displaying the ALV. Then comes with at user command. So when at user command will be trigger, whenever user interact with the push button from the output list, at user command will be trigger. Even this at PF or set PF, it will be used to set the your own custom GUI status in your report output list, means in the output, and your at line selection. Usually this at line selection we'll never use in the ALV case, but still. So normally whatever the set of events we have discussed during the traditional way, there is no any difference. You can straightforward any call any event directly. But during the ALV case, these events has been splitted into two parts. Some set of event will be called before display your output list using the ALV, and some set of event will be called after displaying the ALV. Now why we are splitting this into two parts? See, whenever we display the output by using the ALV, you don't have the direct control on the output. So whatever the activity or whatever the things you want to achieve, you should achieve via function model only. If you want to do anything extra in the output list, like we have done the customizing for your columns, did we maintain it directly? No, we prepared the internal table, and that internal table being passed to your function model. Again, that function model is being taken care. Means you don't have to do anything directly. Whatever the things which you want to achieve in the output list, that must be done via that function model only. Now here why we are splitting this event into two part means, because we wanted to achieve that interactive next for the list, and for that we should use the event. But that event being used after displaying the ALV list. That event being used after displaying the ALV list. Now whatever the events are being used after displaying the ALV list, such event we never call directly. Again, for those events, we need to prepare the internal table. That internal table need to be passed to the function model, the way we have prepared for the field catalog. So here I can say the events which are being used after displaying the ALV output list. Such events we never call directly. Instead, we need to prepare. So system itself will not allow you. We need to prepare ITAB for event, nothing but event internal table. So such events we need to prepare in the format of internal table, and that we need to pass to ALV function model. Now again, of course, top-up page will be used to maintain the heading in the output list. Either you are maintaining the heading in the traditional output list or the ALV. Same. With the end of page, footer at user command, it will be triggered whenever user interact with the push button. At PF, if you want to set your own GUI status, at line selection that will be used during the traditional interactive, but at line selection will not be used during the ALV case. But the thing is that, so during the ALV case, these events will be represented differently. So during the ALV case, these events will be represented differently. So here I can say during the ALV, these representation is different. During the ALV case, these events will be represent differently. See, only representation wise is different. Concept, approach, everything will be remains. Usage, everything will be remain same. Now here, during the normal traditional case, we write it as top hyphen of hyphen page. But during the ALV case, it will be represent as top underscore of underscore page. Getting my point? During the traditional case, this event will be represented as top hyphen of hyphen page because we will call this event directly. But during the ALV case, we will never call this event directly. Instead, we need to prepare in the format of internal table, and that internal table we need to pass to the function model. But representation is different during the ALV case. So it will be top underscore of underscore page. Then end underscore of underscore page. Then comes with during the traditional way, it will be represented as at user hyphen command, and during the ALV case, it will be written as user underscore command. User underscore. Instead of writing at user hyphen command during the ALV case, we will write as user underscore command. And similarly, so we will write it as pf underscore status underscore set. So this is during your pf status. Representation concept is remain same, approach is remain same, usage is remain same. Representation is different, and this we need to prepare in the format of internal table. And to prepare the event internal table, we do have the structure for that. Now the fifth note, slis underscore ALV underscore event. It is standard structure for preparing event work area. And similarly, slis t event. It is a standard table type for event internal table. Right? The way we have created the work area internal table for the field catalog, same way we do it for the event. So I can say work area underscore event type slis ALV event IT underscore event type slis T event. The way we have maintained the field catalog, we need to prepare the event. I can say prepare events. Now double click on this, create object, select F01, enter. Now if we go to this SLIS type group, again that SLIS T event, SLIS ALV event is a family of that SLIS only. Now if I go here, SLIS ALV event. Can you see? Structure for event handling. With this, we are going to handle the event. See, not for all. Suppose if I want to work with the initialization, or if I want to work with the at selection screen or start of selection or end of selection, you are going to prepare the event internet table. No, you are wrong. It is only the event which are being used after displaying the ALV. So that's the reason I have made the two different partition, before or after. Like especially top of page, end of page, at user command, at PF. These are comes means these will be triggered after displaying the ALB, and these will never called explicitly or directly. Instead, we need to prepare in the format of work area and internet table. And to create that work area and internet table for that event, these are the standard structure in the table type. Like during the SLIS field catalog ALB, we do have many fields, but during the event case, we do have only two: name and the form. Name means what event we are using, and whenever that event get triggers, what subroutine you are calling. Name means what event you are using, whenever that event get triggers, what subroutine you are calling or triggering. That subroutine name. And this is a table type, list T event. Now, see, during the interactive ALV case, traditional interactive case, we have used at line selection. It will be triggered whenever user interact with the list. So this time we are not interacting with the list. The data is being displayed in the format of rows and the column. How your data is being printed? In the format of rows and the columns. So this is your data. Yeah, this is your output, right? In the format of rows and column. Now user is supposed to double click on this. Now user is going to double click on this, any of the value. Now it is in the proper format of cell, nothing but the button. This is proper format in the button, or we can say cell. It is in the proper format of now if you look at your ALV output, so you should select all together at the same time, and if you click on execute, can you see how your data is printing? It is a format of the proper rows and the column. And if you look at this 1000, let's assume if I'm trying to double click on this 1000, that is proper a square. That, don't you think it is looking like a button? Don't you think that 1000 value, it is where it is being printed, that outer border, that is a proper cell, don't you think it is looking like a button? And double clicking on button or selecting the button, which event we have used? At user command. So here also, in short, we are trying to click on button only. So this is a proper cell. These are the proper cell, nothing but these are like a button only. And if whenever user click on any button, which event is supposed to call? At user command. And that user command like in ALV, how we are going to represent? Only user underscore command. So here if you look at what event we are using to get the second list, user command, because it is something like we are clicking on the button only. So work area underscore event hyphen name, which event I'm going to use? User underscore command. Right? Now if I go with the traditional traditional interactive report, if I go with the traditional interactive report, can you see here? We have used at line selection. We have used at line selection. So at line selection will be triggered whenever user interact with the list. And we are using the subroutine called get secondary list. See, you can define the subroutine with any name. With the same name, you need to call it. So it means this subroutine will be triggered whenever this event get triggers. So this subroutine will be called whenever this event get triggers. Similarly, during your stock details report, we have used at user command. Can you see here at user command? So in that we are calling the subroutine call perform call buttons, means this subroutine will be called whenever this event get triggers. Okay, so now what I will do, can you see here during the traditional interactive case, after this event we are calling this subroutine. So subroutine name could be anything, subroutine name could be anything, the name which you are defining, with the same name you need to call it. So this is the event name. Whenever this event get triggers, system is going to call this subroutine, and with the same name. So now this we need to say append work area underscore event to it underscore event, and we are going to say form end form. This is the same routine name, and but the syntax is using LV underscore ucom like sciucom, and ls anything, any variable name, cell type slice cell field, and this is what your syntax. Form event or subroutine name, and this is written using ucom using. So these are the importing parameter of that subroutine. Any variable with reference to sciucom, the structure name with reference to the work area with reference to the structure. That is what I have done. So this is whenever this event get triggers, please call this subroutine, and this is your subroutine. This is something like a perform. This is an event, and this is something like a perform. Whenever we come across the perform, system is going to call this form and form. And one variable with reference to sciucom and one work area with reference to the structure. Again, this is a part of slice. Can you see the name is starting with the slice only? And if I take now this, like this form and form, it will take a position, or it will work like a at-line selection, hide, and the cils and all together at the same time. Now here if I go and if I search for this slice cell field, can you see? And what it is going to see? Can you see, read this text? Information cursor position ALV. Now, when this event will get triggered, whenever you are going to double click on this value called 1000 or any customer column. So system is going to call this subroutine, get secondary list, and this is your respective form and form. But what is your requirement? What is our requirement? Whenever user double click on this value in a first list, then I should get the second list. In that second list, I wanted to display the data from VBAK. I wanted to display the data from VBAK. And that second list, I want all the sales order which belongs to customer which you double click on first list. It means when user double click on the first list, specifically on customer number, I want to pick the column name and the field name. Sorry, column name and the field value. So that based on that field value only, I can fetch the data from second table. Right? So whenever you double click on any of the list, maybe first list, second list, third list, or whatever the column you have double clicked on, it will return the information of that column by using this structure. Now in that ALV output list, wherever you are going to double click on, where is your cursor, that cursor position information will be written by using this slice cell field. What kind of information? Maybe the index number, maybe column name, maybe field value, right? Can you see? Table name, table index, then we do have the value on which field you have double clicked on and what is the value. That information will be written by using this structure. Right? Now I'm going to declare the variable. So I will set the breakpoint for you and I will show you break hyphen point. So do not, you can set the breakpoint by using this keyword also, but do not go with this way. You can go with your username. So my username is 95 user 37. If I click on execute, if I double click on this 1000, is your breakpoint is triggering? No, right? What's wrong with this? What we have written over here, see, the event which are being used after displaying the ALV output list, such event we never call directly. Instead, we need to prepare an internal table for the event, nothing but the event internal table, and that we need to pass to the ALV function model. We have prepared it, but did we pass to that internal table to the ALV function model? No, right? If you are not passing, it will not trigger. So we need to go with this ALV function model. And can you see here event somewhere? We need to pass that internal table it underscore event. Now it will trigger. Now double click on this 1000. See, your breakpoint has triggered. So you double clicked on that value. That value has printed in a box system. Now clicking on the push button is nothing but the user command. Even that is also looking like a push button only. So your user command has triggered. When your user command get triggered, he is calling this subroutine. So we are in the respective format. Now in that output list, whatever the value you have double clicked on, that value information will be written by this structure. And that will return, we created this is a work area. This is our work area. If I look at this, double click on this LSL, can you see the data which has been printed in the output list? The internal table is ITKNA1. You have double click on first table index, and this is a value which you have double clicked on, and this is a field name which you have double clicked on. This is a field name and this is the value. Whatever the value you have double clicked on your output list, that value information will be written by this work area. Now accordingly you need to write the logic. Like if you look at this LV cell, this is your field name. This is value. Okay. Now we need to write the logic. If I go with see here, you can go with L. See, I have written this LV. L stands for local, V stands variable. Actually, this is a variable. This is going to return the FCT code. And this is S means structure. But you can go with the work area underscore cell. But in real time, when you go with the programming, every client will be having their own coding standard or guidelines. If the parameter is related to your subroutine, those parameter will be start with P, and the second character represent V as a variable. And similarly, if it is using, then we can go with the P, and if it is a work area, we can go with the S. If it is an internal table, we go with the T, right? And we do have the changing also. The changing for first character will be C. CV, CS, CT, something like this. Okay. Now here we are going to write. And before that, I'm going to declare the three variable. In the first list, we are going to double click on Kunnar. In the second list, we are going to double click on Weblin. And in the third list, we are going to double click on material number. Am I right? Yes. Now why we are creating this variable, I will let you know. Okay. If ps underscore cell hyphen field name is equals to Kunnar. So user is going to double click on list. It may be first list. Here we don't need to, we nothing to deal with the list. We are dealing with the column directly. It may be first list, it may be second list, it may be third list. But in first list, which column you are double clicking on, in the second list, which column you are double clicking on, that matters. We are not dealing with the list, we are dealing with the column and the value. So of course, in the first list, you are going to double click on the customer field. We are checking, is this field is Kunnar? If yes, then take that field value to a local variable. So we are checking whatever the cursor position written by this structure, we are checking the field name. If it is a Kunnar, take this value to the local variable. We are taking that value to the local variable. And based on that, so earlier, how did we achieve? We are picking with the help of hide keyword, we are picking the complete work area. Now this time we are not picking the complete work area, a specific value which you are going to double click on. Accuracy is very high during the ALV case. Okay. Now we are going to say select Weblin, Eridat, Network, WAERK from VBAK into table ID underscore VBAK, where Kunnar equals to LV underscore Kunnar. So you must write the Saisabasi check after every select statement, and that Saisabasi should not be empty. That if condition should not be empty, you must write some any positive statement. Positive statement. It can be sort or it can be something else also. Now we are going to display the data. Go with pattern. Either you can display with the grid display or you can go with the list display. Parameters are remain same. Okay. So with the help of exporting the callback program and the structure name. So here we are going to pass the callback program, current program name, and that to your main program, REP, and your structure which you have created in SC11. This one. Okay, and your output internal table, IT underscore VBAK. Do not delete the exception. These are the part of standard error handling. And we have already created one text message. Message text hyphen E01 type E, pretty printer, and activate. Now already I have set the breakpoint. You just click on execute. Double click on 1000. Any value you can double click on. See it. Whatever the value you have double clicked on or whatever the column you have double click on, that column information will be written by using this PSLs. So any parameter which you have defined with reference to list underscore cell field. So this is the internal table. From this internal table only we are printing the data. This is your index and this is the value and this is the field name. Now we are checking. Does the field name is equals to Kunnar or not? And if it is Kunnar, take the value to the local variable. See, we have taken the value to the local variable. Now, based on that, we are trying to fetch the data from the database. What is the Saisabasi? It is 4. We are going to maintain the validation. If you don't find the value, I should get the error message. But here it is printing the empty table. See, I don't want empty table. If you don't find the data, then I should get the error message. So, if it is equals to 0, then sort it. Else, show the message. Or I can say else if Saisabasi is equals to 4. Then I want to show the message no sales document found for the given selection criteria. Type of message S. Okay, now again I'm going to double click on different value 1001. Okay, we are checking field name and we are checking the value. The field name is Kunnar, value is 1000, which you have double clicked on. This time your index is different. You can see this is your second index. You have double click on second row, the index number is 2. So We are taking the value to the local variable LV Kunnar, and based on that we are trying to fetch the data from VBAK. Now we are checking again, the SISA bus is 4, so I should get the error message. See, no sales document found for the given selection criteria. Still it is getting the empty, this one empty, but I don't want this one empty. I want to be show the message in the same screen. It should not take me to the next screen. So you can go with the type of message as I or E. So I will go with I. Now if I click on execute, I didn't found any record for the 1000 also, 1002 also. I will go with the 1002. See, this time index number will be 3. Can you see? Field name is again Kunnar and the value is 1002. Now again, what is the value of Saisabasi? 4. It means again he does not found the data. You will get the message, no sales document found for the given selection criteria. How come? How come? See, again it is taking me to the next screen. What I will do is I will go with the E message. Let it be in the same screen. Now if I go with the fourth, if I double click on the 1004, 1003, I don't find any data for 1000, 1001, 1002. I'm checking for 1003. See, no sales document found for the given. How come how come we don't have any data for any customer? Let's check at the cross check at the database level. Let's cross check at the table level. VBAK. First I will pass. Can you see? I don't find the see. Can you see your customer number? For database table, now we are working with the database table VBAK, any kind of database table in SA11. So for those database table, selection screen comes by default. You no need to create. For all the database table, selection screen comes by default. You no need to create. But you can customize. See, in the database table, how many fields are there? 158. But in the selection screen, I'm getting only few. How come? And here we don't have the customer number. See, you can customize the selection screen of database table. How? By going with utilities, field for selection. Now you'll get the pop-up. Now whatever the checkbox are selected, only those field getting displayed in a selection screen. Now I need the customer number, then you can search it. See, this is the customer number. Select that checkbox. Now that field also I can see here. This has nothing to do with the interactive. I'm just giving you the tips. Okay. Now here we are checking. So I was not getting the any sales order for the 1000. I'm getting the message as no data found. Now if I go with the number of entries, see we do have 75 entry. But why that select statement is failing? If I go with 1001 number of entries, we do have 181 sales order. Why that select statement is failing? 1002 number of entries, 104. But why my select statement is failing? Now if I look at the output list, this is a Veblen, Eredat, then ERZET, NAM, so on. If I scroll towards right, see, this is my customer number. Can you see this customer number? But what did you observe here? What did you observe here? Here passing the plain 1003 or 1002 or 1000. But how internally the data has been stored? It is with leading zero with customer number. And as we already discussed, the SAP's internal format is different and SAP's external format is different. And if you want to convert your data from SAP internal to external or vice versa, we discuss with the domain properties.
This conference will now be recorded.
So we discuss the domain properties. What are those? Sign, lowercase, fixed value, value table, and the last one is conversion. And I have shown you with the example as well. So external value is 1, but internally how the data has been stored? Leading 0 with 1. As a human being, these both values are same and equal for me, but the system, it is not at all equivalent. System works on a machine language, nothing but the binary language. One extra 0, one extra 1 will make a lot of difference. In that situation, whatever the value we are getting external, so externally we are getting only plain 1000 or 1001, 1002, 1003, but internally it has stored with the leading 0. In that situation, we need to work with these two function model: conversion exit alpha input, alpha output, to convert your data from external to internal, internal to external. Not only conversion exit alpha input, which value you want to do the conversion for respect to data element, you do have the domain. In that domain, you do have the conversion routine. Not always you should go with the alpha input or alpha output. Now, which value I should convert? This kunnar. Now, what you can do is you can go to that kunnar field. So I'm searching for this kunnar field. So this is a data element. Go in this. This is a domain. Go in this, and this is a conversion routine. Go to this alpha, and this is a conversion routine which will convert your data from SAP external format into internal. Now what we supposed to do is, now here we are getting the LV Kunnar. Can you see? Before we compare this LV Kunnar to the database level, we need to do the conversion by using this function model. So we need to pass this LV Kunnar here, and he is going to return the LV Kunnar. Or instead of this, what we supposed to do is, what value we are getting, that value we need to pass here, and we need to do something like this. We are getting the plain value. That value is being converted into leading 0. Now you will get the output. Click on execute. 1000 to 1010. Now I'm going to double click on 1000. So whenever you double click on any of the output list, we are checking on which column you have double clicked on. Of course, I have double clicked on Kunnar, and my logic is based on the Kunnar only. Now if I do F6, this is my value, and this value is plain value. Internally the data is with the leading 0. Now we are converting this plain value into leading 0. Can you see? Now this is with the leading 0, 1000. Now we will fetch the data from the database. Can you see? We have received 75 record. We are going to sort it and we are going to display. So this is your output. So sometimes that domain properties we need to use explicitly. Okay. So along with this customer number, we need to get it compared with selection screen, Weblin. Right? See, here in this case, accuracy is very high. What is my requirement? When I double click on the customer, I should get the second list. Now, instead of customer number, if you double click on this country, still it will trigger. Still it will trigger because it is a part of user command. But here we are checking on which column you are double clicking on. So you have double clicked on land one. So my logic should not be based on the land one. See, nothing is happening. If I double click on this customer name, so each time we are checking which column you have double clicked on. My logic is based on the Kunnar. If you randomly double click on any of the column, it will not trigger. It will trigger only when if you double click on the customer number. See, but if you go with the traditional interactive, there, if you look at, if I go to SC38, see here, if you double click on the vendor, you will get the output. In the same way, in this line, if you double click on any of the column, it will trigger. See, if I double click on this street also, it will consider the same vendor, and based on the vendor, it will get the data. So here accuracy is very low. In this row, if you double click on anywhere, you will get the output. It means I told you that whenever you double click on, it will pick the entire row. But our logic is based on this vendor. So here accuracy is very low during the traditional, but during the ALV case, the accuracy is very high. Your output is getting only when if you double click on the customer number. So when I provide the input, if I double click on any of the customer number, I'm getting the second list, and that second list is a part of sales order header data. Now we are checking which field name you have double clicked on and what is the value. Now based on the value, we are converting that value into SAP internal format, and based on that we are getting the data and we are displaying the data. Now again requirement is what? If I double click on any of the sales document number, I should get the third list. Now if I double click on this, see, if I double click on this list, does it triggering? No. Does it mean do we need to define the event again? See, you no need to define the event again. Already you have prepared the event. Already you have prepared this event. You just need to pass this event internal table to this function model. Can you see events? Now it will trigger. Now I'm going to double click on 1000. See, it has triggered now. So this is my second list. Now if I double click on any value, 4975, double click, see, earlier it was not triggering, now it is triggering. Now on which field you have double clicked on? Now this time we are not checking for the list. We are looking for a specific column. Accuracy is very high during the ALV case, right? Now we are checking for the field name Weblin. Actually, we do have the requirement whenever user double click on any of the Weblin field, I should get the third list. But we have not written the logic for that Weblin. We need to write it down. Now again, suppose user is looking for any change of the column heading or anything, again you need to prepare the field catalog. Now user is saying that sales document, this column label is fine, but user is saying that I don't want this created on. I want order date. I don't want this a net value. I want it as an amount. Then again you need to prepare the field catalog work area internal table separately for this list, and you need to manage. Now for example, I will go with the top. I will create another work area and the internal table for VBAK list. So I will go with the field catalog. This is for my first list. That is a part of customer master. Now similarly, we need to do it for the second list. Second list, that is a part of sales document or sales document header. This is a part of your Weblin. I told you that even if you do have the issue with any of the column, you need to prepare this field catalog internal table completely. Half structure, half field catalog internal table, it never going to work for you. Okay, and this belongs to the second table, VBAK. What heading you are expecting? I can say sales document. Here also I want the same thing, sales document number. Okay, I'm removing this leading zero option. Output is fine. So here we need to rename. We are going to rename this KNA1, replace with VBAK. So this is a structure for VBAK collecting in internal table. So this is for the first field. Similarly, we need to do it for the second field, third field, fourth field. Now first field is Weblin, second field is what? Error data. And the description is order date. Now next field is what? NATWR. That is a part of amount. Now the last field is what? WAERK. That is a part of currency. I don't want this is 15 character. Rest is fine. I don't require for this as well. I don't require for this as well. If I click on activate, make sure that you are selecting the dependent program together at the same time. And during the display, can you see here we have passed the structure name. Instead, we need to pass the field catalog internal table. Can you see? IT F underscore VBAK. Now, if I click on execute, 1000 to 1010, if I double click on 1000, see, sales document number, order date, amount, and the currency. Now, what user is saying, suppose I want to calculate the subtotal of this amount. You need to select this E option. So if you scroll down, you can find the total option here. Now, when we go back and come again you need to calculate this total explicitly. Again, you need to calculate this subtotal explicitly. But user is saying that no, I don't want to calculate the subtotal explicitly. Let that calculate the total automatically. Now again, we need to work with the one of the parameter of that field catalog. If I go with the list field cat, can you see here this one? Can you see this parameter? This is a parameter of this same list field catalog, and the parameter name is do sum. It will calculate the subtotal automatically. For example, if I go with this field cat, I want to remove this width. You want to calculate the subtotal of this network. So we need to say that work area underscore VBAK hyphen do underscore sum is equals to X. If I click on execute, if I pass the customer number, double click on 1000. If I scroll down, you can find the total automatically. Did I select the E option? No, right? So this is how we're supposed to do in real time. Now suppose user is saying that I don't want this E. I don't want the sales order whose value is equals to 0. I don't want those sales order whose value is equals to 0. So this you can achieve with a two different way. Of course, that you need to manage in a select statement. If I go with this display, so here, either you see here only we are fetching the data from the VBAK. So you can achieve this one as where network which is not equals to 0. You can achieve this way also. I don't want those sales order whose total value is equals to 0.00. That will get excluded. Can you see? You don't find any order which is equals to 0. But you should not write any. Actually, this is a negative statement. This is your negative statement. You should not write any negative statement in the select statement. So the same job you can achieve in a different way also. How? So check if you receive the data correctly, then sort it. After the sort, you can say that delete it underscore VPAK where like this. Do not write any negative statement under the select. Instead, I would suggest get the data and you can delete it whose value is equals to 0. It will also do the same job. If I double click on 1000, so what it will do? It will get the data for you. So how many data it has received? It is received around 75 entry. Now what we are going to do? We are going to delete those document whose network value is 0. See, now it has 75. and it becomes 49. So it is deleted those entry whose network value is 0. So this is a positive way statement, and automatically your subtotal is being calculated. That is remains same. Now we need to work on the third list. Now whenever user double click on the second list, now in the second list, on which column you are going to double click on? Web lane. So the way we have written for the Kunnar, like if field name is equals to Kunnar, then we should do this one. Similarly, here we are not bothering about the list, on which column you are double click on. We are directly dealing with the column name. So here I can say if ps underscore cell hyphen field name is equals to vbeln, vbeln. Now what we need to do? We are taking that value to a local variable, ps underscore cell hyphen value. Then we are going to fetch the data. Select Postnar, Matner, MAKTX, KWMENG. Then we need to go with VRKME, NETPR, NETWR, and then WAERK. From VBAP is going to be inner join with MAKT. On VBAP, Matner should equals to MAKT Matner. Into table IT underscore VBAP, where Weblin is equals to LV underscore Weblin and Spras equals to EN, or I can say Silango. So we are checking if Saisabasi is equals to 0. Then we are going to say sort IT underscore VBAP. Now again, if it is else, else if Saisabasi is equals to 4, we can say message no sales item found for the selected document. Type of message is I. This is how. Now, which sales document you are going to double click on? If those sales document, sales item not found, I want to get this message. No sales item found for the given selection. For the selected document. Of course, which document you are going to double click on? For that document, we didn't find any sales item. So I'm going to create the text. So you can say like this: no sales document found for the selected customer. See, system is going to create that numbering automatically, 2 and 3. So this, I'm going to make it text 002. Same I want to give it for this one, 003. No sales document found for the selected customer, right? Now, when you are going to work with the inner join, you will get one common error, that is ambiguous. Means if the same column exists in both the table, then you will get this message. Usually, whatever the syntax I have shown you, we always provide the table name tilde symbol field name. So no need to provide for all. Provide only for that duplicate one. So from which table you want to consider this material. That's it. Sorry, VBAP. Now if I go with this IT VBAP, The column sequence should be correct. Posner, Matner, Mactus, KWMNG, VRKME, Network, Network, WARK. Everything is correct. Okay. Now again, so once we select the data, again we are going to display. Now you can display by using reuse ALV grid display or list display. Both R's remain same. I'm using again list. So here current callback program name. So my current callback program name is REP, and I'm passing the structure name. What is your structure? If I go with SA11, the structure we have already created. This is the one, VBAP underscore S, and your internal IT underscore VBAP. Do not delete the exception. These are the part of standard error handling. And if it is Saisabasi not equals to 0, then I want to display the message with E01. Type E. Now if I go with this, does not exist. Yes. Now you do let me know. We are preparing for the third list. Are we going to double click on this list too? Yes. In that case, we need to pass that event, IT event. Can you see? IT underscore event. Activate and run. So I'm going to double click on the customer number 1000. So here we are not bothering about the list. We are bothering on which field you are going to double click on. If it is field name is Kunnar, get the sales document number and print it. Now I'm going to double click on this 5045. I am going to double click on this 5045. If I double click on this, we are checking on which field name you have double clicked on. That is a Veblen. Then get that value to the local variable LV Veblen. Now, based on that Veblen, we are fetching the item data. Now, what is the Saisabasi? 4. It means no sales item found for the selected sales document. It never going to be happen. If you do have the sales order, then must be sales item. There's something going wrong. We will check at the table level. If I go with the VBAP display table content, now what value we are passing? 5045. Okay, and if I check the number of entries, of course we do have two. Now what's going wrong? How does this value internal format? Again leading 0. It means again we need to do the conversion. So don't, of course you can use straightforward that conversion exit alpha input which we have used for the conversion of customer number. Otherwise you can simply go to this data element, go to this domain and go to routine and get this one. You always, if you want to do the conversion, go to that respective field, data element and domain, get the conversion routine. Do not call it blindly. Okay. Now here if you see, if I click on execute, so first list is working fine. Even second list is also working fine. If I double click on 5045, now you can see if the field name is Veblen, so this is where a value 5045 and that we are converting into internal format. That is a part of leading 0 with 5045. Now we are fetching the data. We have received the 2 entry and we are going to display it. See, item, material, description, quantity, unit, net price, net value. Now again, if you want to change the label, if you want to do the total, subtotal, again you need to create your own field catalog work area in the internal table. Now here again I'm going to double click on this P-109, nothing but the material number. Now again, if the field name is this, I can say if PS-cell field name is equals to MATNR. Then what we need to do? We need to take that value to matner equals to PS underscore cell hyphen matner. Then we are going to use set parameter ID mat field value LV matner. Then call transaction MM02. Sorry, it should be value. If I click on execute, double click on 1000, F8, double click on 5045, F8. Now we are going to double click on third list. Double click. So field name is this one, Matner. We are picking the field value. We are going to set the parameter. So we are calling the MM02. In that MM02, the parameter ID mat. Now whatever the field is having, the parameter ID is mat. Please set the field value. See, you know the traditional interactive report which we have worked on. The traditional interactive report, for example, see, we are going to double click on this 1000. Now user is getting bored. Oh, I don't want to double click on. You know, hyperlink concept. Every like in the text message, if you want to add the hyperlink, and that hyperlink, the cursor will be like a hand symbol. Now, can you see my mouse cursor? How it is looking like? A pointer. Wherever I placing this mouse cursor, it is looking like a pointer. But user is saying, I don't want to double click. Does it work like a hyperlink? Can you make it as a hyperlink? Yes, we can do it. How? On which column you want to double click on which column you want to double click on, in front of that, just provide the hotspot. So we wanted to double click on the listener, make it hotspot. This is the first list. In the second list, we wanted to double click on the weblin, make it hotspot. In the third list, we wanted to double click on Matner, make it hot. Sorry. So here, hotspot. So with this hotspot, what will happen? If I place my mouse cursor on any of the column like country or name or city, it is like a pointer. But as soon as if I take my cursor on the customer number, it will turn into hand symbol. And when it is turning into hand symbol, it will work like a hyperlink. No need to double click. Even single click also it will take you further. Similarly, in the second list, if I take my cursor on the order date, it will be work like a pointer. In the payment term, pointer. But if you take it to the purchase order document number, it will take to the hand symbol. Similarly, material, hand symbol. Same you can do here also. But for that, you no need to use that hotspot directly. But when you go with this field catalog one, can you see this hotspot? Everything we need to work with the field catalog parameter. So in the first list, we are going to double click on customer number. So we need to say that hyphen hotspot is equals to X. Now similarly, in the second list, we are going to double click on weblin. Hyphen hotspot is equals to X. Okay. See, now it is hyper. Can you see underscore? That is a hyperlink. You no need to double click on. Single click, it will take you further. Again, second list, single click, take you further. But it will not work on the third list because third list we never create. We have not created the field catalog internal table and the work area. We pass the structure name. In that case, we don't have the options. We cannot do it. right? We need to double click only. If you want to apply this same concept here also, you need to prepare your field catalog, work area, and the internal table. Now, if I look at the EPC, you will get the many error because we do have done many hard coding. The column heading something, can you see? We do have the 28. You need to fix it all. Now from get secondary list not called directly, that is fine. It is a dynamic perform. If I go with this one, it is saying that it is not used statistically. That's fine. VBAP table is not consistent. It is at the table level. We have nothing to do with this. C. Do not use field symbol globally. You should not use all the variable globally. Now if I go with the 3, see I told you that type table of it's a generic way. You must go with the type standard table of either type standard, sorted or hashed. So this is that warning. So you need to fix this. Most of the error is related to your hard coding. So you need to work on this part. You need to create the text element.